Do you think South Africans are lonely? Do you think it's a societal problem?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that loneliness is now become an epidemic on our planet. And part of it, if we go back and we look at families before, when kids were ready to get married, they lived with parents.
Yes.
Now we have nuclear families, so everybody goes out and buys their own place. So even if you're single, you feel the pressure to move out and have your own place, because I want to be independent. I want to live my own life. I want to make my own rules,
Yes.
which is all wonderful. But there is a difference between independence and interdependence. Today is different from even 30 years ago. So if you look at the generation before, the roles were quite clearly defined. The man was the breadwinner, the provider, the protector, right? The woman was the homemaker, the nurturer, the mother, and so on. So they had very clearly defined roles, and it worked. Whether they liked it or not is another matter, but it worked. So then came the 1960s, when, women started claiming their rights, and then they had the right to work and have their own money, and then education, and on that went. So today, women are very independent. They don't need the provider or the protector because they can do that for themselves. So relationships today are more about partnerships. Okay, we don't have those roles anymore. So you'll find that is why fewer people are getting married, right? Because they don't need the other person for their survival anymore.
I mean, because I can imagine someone who is going into a date and what they're thinking about is, I want to show up as authentic as possible. But at the same time, there's a risk that the person that you're showing up to might not really like the authentic you.
And isn't
they might
that
not want
beautiful?
to know about. They might not want to know
I
about.
would say that is fantastic, because we talk about polarizing. So when someone pitches up and this is you in your full authenticity, and that person doesn't like what they see, it means that's not your person. So can you imagine how much of heartache you are preventing by upfront knowing this is not your person? And the person that matches you, that's that frequency match for you, is gonna love your authenticity. That's the person for you. Right? Yeah, so we don't want to spend years with the wrong person because we pretended to be someone else and they liked the person we pretended to be. So conscious dating means I'm showing up in my full authenticity, and I've also done my healing work.
Do you think it's necessary or it's important for us in relationship, be it you've been in a long-term relationship or you are married, to constantly seek, some kind of a counseling, therapy? Because a lot of us go for a long time without seeing anyone to talk to.
100%. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a relationship coach, right?
Yes.
I'm saying it because I see couples who have just been going through life for years on end without really looking at their relationship, without asking the questions, are we happy? Are we on track? Is this the life that we both want? They don't ask these questions. So I say it doesn't matter how long the marriage has been already, you can make today the restart. And you do that by very simply saying, hey, we've been together for X number of years or months or whatever the case is, and let's just do a check-in.
And also the other thing that I wanted us to maybe briefly talk about is the evolution that happens over time in marriage. Because you meet, as these young minds that are thinking in this way, and then after 10, 12 years, a lot has changed, priorities have changed, and although even when you started together, you had the same ideas, but over time, a lot of things can change, and then you begin to lose that, one vision for the relationship or the family.
Yes, correct. If one person is growing and one is not, you have disaster. That marriage not going to last. If we understand that we are there and we're going to grow and evolve together, that's part of our journey that's going to happen. So when you realize that we're going to be growing, then we look at our relationship and we say, in the courting phase, we had one relationship because there were no real responsibilities there. We had that. Then when we decide we want to get married, now we're setting up a home and we juggling careers and all of that. Now we have a different type of relationship. Then when we have kids, now we're going to be parents as well. Now we have a third type of relationship. Then when the kids are done with school and they're off to university, you got the empty nest, we're going to have another kind of relationship. You've had 4 relationships with the same person.
Earlier on, you spoke about roles. That in the past, when marriages were back in the 60s, 50s, there were roles. What is your take in as far as roles are concerned today? Should we still be stuck in the old ways of, a woman must do this when she gets home and the man must do that when he gets home? What do you think?
These roles that are very skewed in today's world is the reason that a lot of women don't want to get married.
Kes, how are you checking in this morning?
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Thank
Nice
you.
one, nice one. How was your morning? How has the morning been?
It's been good. Thank you for having me today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Most definitely the same from our side. We are really grateful for your presence and you gracing us all the way from Durban.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're the first guest that we are going to try this Zoom podcast with, and I hope it goes well so that we can have more and even international ones.
Well, just imagine I'm sitting across the table from you.
In a weird way, I'm trying to do that. Okay, let's talk about. I just want to start with, the Love Evolution Group. Tell us a bit about the Love Evolution Group. What is that? Um,
Okay, so I
when was
started.
it created?
Well, I'm coaching now for 25 years. So,
Ooh,
yes,
okay.
longer than a lot of people have been alive. So,
Yeah. Was it called coaching then?
back then people didn't know what a coach was. So, a lot of the time people assumed I was a personal trainer.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right? So I had to explain that it's personal development and not personal training, as in going to a gym. So I
Yeah.
had to explain that in the beginning. Yes. And then, so obviously everything I do as a coach has evolved so much over the years because everything's changing. If you look even 10 years ago, the way we did things then, the way we did relationships then is completely different from today.
Yes.
So I love, growing and evolving with times as well. So keeping in touch with what people need today, what are the state of relationships today, and then
Yes.
shifting it accordingly. So the love evolution came about when I'm not sure if you are aware of the David Hawkins scale. It's called a
Mm.
consciousness scale or an emotional scale,
Okay, yes, I
where
think I might have heard about it, but I've
right,
never really
okay.
checked it or went to read about it.
Okay, so what it does is it shows you the calibration of every emotion, right? So, for
Okay.
example, an emotion at the bottom of the scale is shame, so that calibrates at 20 hertz,
Okay.
right? Then you've got like guilt and blame and fear and anger and all of that leading up to neutral. So all of those emotions down there are very low frequency.
Mm.
Then after neutral, if you're going up, you got willingness, acceptance, so on, and you come to love. And love calibrates at 500.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look down there like shame at 20, love is at 500, you can see the difference in the frequency.
Okay.
So when one person calibrates their energy at the energy of love, it can have a positive impact on 750,000 people that are vibrating at a lower frequency. Okay,
Okay.
so yes. So so when I looked at, like, I just love Dr. Hawkins' work. There's like so many of his books, and his work has really, really been very instrumental in my coaching as well.
Okay.
So when I looked at that frequency of love, and I thought, how much can we change if our goal is to increase our frequency?
Yes.
That's all, right? So it would shift our relationships, it would shift our health and well being, it would shift our level of prosperity and success. It shifts everything if
Mm.
we start increasing our frequency to the frequency of love. So that's how the love evolution came about, because I didn't like the word revolution, right?
Okay.
Because I thought that's too much of a fight. We want to evolve, we want to grow.
Yeah.
So love evolution came
Okay.
about. So my YouTube channel is called the same thing.
And how long have you had it? The Love Evolution
Oh,
Coach?
I really can't remember when I set that up, but maybe 10 years or
Many.
so.
Okay, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so over the 25 years, things have really changed and evolved, and that was just one of the steps.
Hmm.
Yes.
And prior to you doing this, actually, I'm just curious, what drew you to this work? Let's say Dr. Hawkins' work. Prior to that, how did you come up? How did you meet him? Know about him, and what drew you to knowing about this person and their work?
Okay. I think that, if I look at coaching in general, I started my career as a teacher. Okay.
Okay.
So, 13 years in, I resigned as a teacher because coaching was something that always drew me. While I was teaching, I'd have students come to me in the lunch break and after school, and they'd want to sit and have a chat about what's
Mm.
going on in their life. And I felt that that was something they naturally gravitated to me, and I naturally wanted to help. So there was a calling in me that I want to do the kind of work that inspires people, that elevates people, that frees people from all
Yeah.
the limitations around them, and helps them reach that fullest potential. So I think that's where it started, getting into coaching. And initially, when I started coaching, I mean, 25 years, that's a long time ago,
Yeah.
right? So back then, it was more like goal setting and achieving your goals and mindset and positive thinking and, all of that kind of stuff. But
Yes.
as time went by, I started to realize there's so much more, there's so much deeper. Because why is it that some things will work for some people, but it won't work for the majority?
Mm.
Because if you look at positive thinking, right? By the way, today I don't talk about positive thinking in my coaching. Okay. We
Okay.
can talk about that later, but
You
but
don't
for
want to
me it
you don't
is
want to discuss today.
it's just that I find that it's a bypass. So if you have a problem, if you're feeling something, let's take something like depression. It's so rife on the planet today. So if
Yes.
someone's feeling sad, or they're feeling depressed, or they're feeling angry, or they're feeling fearful, if no amount of positive thinking is going to fix that. So we
Mm.
can have all the positive thinking, we can look in the mirror and say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, money comes to me, and we can say all these wonderful things. But if we stuff the emotion down, all we're doing is we stuffing it inside of ourselves. It's going to become stronger. And next time it's going to come up stronger. And then
Mm.
we stuff it down again with more positive thinking, and then it comes back stronger than before. And the reason for that is that emotion has a message for you. So if
Okay.
we can sit with the emotion and say, what I'm feeling right now is sadness, and sit with it and allow it and feel it. And then we say, okay, so why am I feeling this sadness? Where's this coming from? The emotion just wants to give you a message. As soon as it gives you the message, the emotion dissipates, and that happens in as little as 90 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. So when I started realizing the power of our emotions, I started doing deeper research into this. So I went into neuroscience and then quantum physics, and that's when I came across Dr. Hawkins' scale. So I kind of use that scale in all of my coaching to see where are you right now, and let's see the effect that that frequency is having on your life. So if you're having issues in your relationships, let's see where your frequency is at. And usually it's in the below the 200 mark, below the neutral mark, right? So
Okay.
when we can look there and we can go in and resolve those emotional blocks, those wounds that are there, the internal trauma that's there, that's doing the real work. So when we do that, that frees the person up to then raise their frequency.
Okay.
Then and only then does the positive thinking come in, and it is very beneficial.
Okay. All right. For interest sake, you said love is around 500.
Yes.
Is that 500? What's above love?
Joy. So there's gratitude is at 540, joy is at about 600, and peace is around 900 on the scale. That's the highest on the scale.
Okay. And loneliness? Very low, I would imagine.
Yeah, loneliness will calibrate at the bottom with apathy, and so it's about 40, 50 on the scale.
Okay. Do you think South Africans are lonely? Do you think it's a societal problem?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that loneliness is now become an epidemic on our planet.
mm,
And part of it, if we go back and we look at families before, when kids were ready to get married, they they lived with parents.
yes.
Now we have nuclear families, so everybody goes out and buys their own place. So even if you're single, you feel the pressure to move out and have your own place because I want to be independent. I want to live my own life. I want to make my own rules, which
Yes.
is all wonderful. But there is a difference between independence and interdependence,
Mm,
right? So codependent would be problematic because that's the wound where you attract people that you can't leave, even though it's a toxic relationship, right? So that's codependent. We don't want that. Independent has become so revered on our planet today that people want to move out and live on their own. They want to do their own stuff. And as a result of that, we've become very, very isolated. Then came 2020 with COVID, and we went into the lockdown and so on. And this made that isolation feel like it's normal. And
mm,
it's not. Human beings are made for connection. So interdependence is where we can in a very healthy way depend on each other. So that creates connection, and I think we've lost that. So we revere independence so much that people are becoming very, very lonely. Even if you look at the divorce rate today, worldwide, it's 53%. So even couples like coming together, getting married, they're getting divorced, and then what? Now they've got two separate homes.
yeah.
So the loneliness, I find it's not as much as we can say there's answers for that. It's simple, but I just feel that people are unaware that this actually is an epidemic and it's actually not natural for human beings to be alone.
To be alone. But how do I know, like someone who's watching this, how do I know if I'm lonely? What are some of those signs that would make me a lonely person? How do I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm listening, I'm watching this podcast, and I want to now know I stay alone, I'm independent, I'm enjoying my life, and that's what I'm thinking. How do I know if I'm lonely. I'm not just alone. If there's
Yeah,
a
it
difference.
comes to how you feel, isn't it? If you're feeling disconnected, if you're spending more time on your phone or on your laptop and Netflix and YouTube and all of that, rather than actually face to face having conversations with people, that's loneliness. So it's the feeling of isolation. It's the feeling that I don't have someone to talk to. When I have a problem, I don't have someone to share with. When I have something to celebrate, I don't have someone to celebrate with. That's loneliness.
Mm. And
People can
more,
be alone and be completely content with that.
yeah,
So that wouldn't be loneliness, because you're content. But it's that feeling that something's missing. I don't have someone, in the good times or the bad times.
to talk to, yeah. And you are right, because I mean, literally everything around us is sort of forcing us to be in our private spaces more often than not. I mean, we work from
Mm.
home now.
Yes.
We literally can do everything on our,
Yes.
PCs without really connecting with the rest of the world. There's homeschooling for kids. I mean, there's no need for them to go and associate with the rest of the
Mm.
900 or 1,000 learners that are in at school.
Absolutely. And I think we're losing that human connection, and that's not good for humanity at all.
Yeah. And how do I overcome loneliness? If I think I'm a lonely person and I can see all the signs that you're talking
Mm.
about, whenever I achieve these goals that I want to achieve, but there's literally no one that I can, call
Mm.
or talk to or go to celebrate these
Mm.
achievements with.
It's simple. We can say join groups. There's plenty of social groups that meet. It's common interests, right? Whether it's you like art or you like music or you like concerts or you like hiking, there's plenty of groups and things like that that you can join, networking and so on. You can do all of these things. However, it has to start with the individual wanting that, wanting to take that step. No, because when somebody is lonely and they get into a state of depression, they don't want to take any action at all.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, can we first deal with that? Can we deal with the sadness, the depression, the feeling that I'm not good enough?
Mm.
Or I don't want to be visible. Can we deal with that? Because that's the underlying trauma that's there, that's keeping the person alone. If we don't deal with that, you can say to the person, there's a group of 200 people here and they're going on this hike and you like hiking, so join us. And the person's still going to say no because it's an emotional issue. It's
Yeah.
not about physically getting out and doing something,
Okay.
so that has to be dealt with first. Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things that you teach on is conscious relationships.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that. What is conscious relationships?
Okay, my favorite topic. We're going to be here for 6 hours.
Very interesting.
Okay, so let's look at how traditionally how relationships are created, right? And I'm not talking about like way back. I'm just talking about maybe the last 50, 60 years, right? So people would find someone. First, they get to an age where society, and I'm doing this in inverted commas, is saying by a certain age, you should be married. You need to get your education, get a job, get married, buy the house, have kids. So all of these milestones are put in place. And so previously, we'd feel that one day I'm going to meet the perfect person. We're going to fall in love. We're going to instantly know that this is my person. This is my soulmate. We're meant to be together. It's going to be fantastic. And we're going to get married and live happily ever after. So that's the fairy tale, right?
Yeah,
And we've all been fed the fairy tale because when we're little kids, what stories are read to us? It's the fairy tales.
true.
Right? And the last line is, and they lived happily ever after. But nobody tells you what happens after when now they have a home and both of them are working and who's going to wash the dishes and who's cooking the food. And now they have kids and who's dropping them off at school and one of them is sick and who's staying home. We don't talk about all of that in the fairy tales,
Yeah,
okay?
that is
So
so true.
So that expectation of when I find the right partner, I'm going to be happy for the rest of my life, that expectation has led to that 53% divorce rate worldwide.
Mm.
Because today is different from even 30 years ago. So if you look at the generation before, the roles were quite clearly defined. The man was the breadwinner, the provider, the protector, right? The woman was the homemaker, the nurturer, the mother, and so on. So they had very clearly defined roles, and it worked. Whether they liked it or not is another matter, but it worked. So
Okay.
then came the 1960s when, women started claiming their rights, and then they had the right to work and have their own money, and then education, and on that went. So today, women are very independent. They don't need the provider or the protector because they can do that for themselves. So relationships today are more about partnerships. Okay,
Okay.
we don't have those roles anymore. So you'll find that is why fewer people are getting married, right? Because they
Yeah.
don't need the other person for their survival anymore. So now it's a choice to come into marriage, to live together, to create a life together, to have a family. All those things become choices. So when we make these kind of choices, the divorce rate is so high today because when there's problems in the marriage, so it's not the fairy tale anymore, it's easy to walk away. Because if
Mm.
I'm not financially dependent on my partner, I can walk away. All right.
Yes.
So, conscious relationships is a completely new paradigm when it comes to relationships. So, let's talk about from the dating to the relationship to the
Yes.
marriage and so
Yes.
on, so you can see what it looks like. So, if you look at conventional dating, so you either meeting someone on an app or someone's introducing you or whatever, and you're meeting somebody. But in your mind, most people have a long list of expectations that they have for the other person.
Yes.
Okay. Some people don't want relationship, but they're meeting someone on a date because they want a one night stand. That's become more common than ever before now, right? So, whatever it is, they're going in with an agenda. This is what I want from this other person. There's no thought given to what is it that I have to offer? What am I bringing? It's what I want. So the focus is there. So then the dates go according to what you want. So if you're looking for a spouse, you're looking for someone to marry, you're going to show up and be your best self and best manners. And, this is me, and hide everything from the past that was even slightly irregular. We're going to hide
Yeah.
all of that. We're going to show up as I'm this perfect person, right?
Mhm.
I'm just so good. So, in other words, we're selling ourselves in that way. And then later on, well, you're not the person I met. Okay. You're not the person I married. Why? Because that person wasn't the real you. It wasn't the authentic you. So
Yeah.
that's conventional dating is dating because there's something I want from this other person. So conscious dating,
So before you move on from that point, would you say the rise of social media, it's part of the reason why we are painting this perfect image to whoever
yes,
that doesn't know us. But as soon as they get close and they get to know us, then they get to see the real, stuff that we are probably not wanting exposed.
100%. Because on social media, people only post their happiest moments.
Hmm.
Right? They're posting when they're going out and having this beautiful meal. They're posting when they're on holiday, when someone got married, engaged, anniversaries. They're posting that stuff. But they're not posting the struggles and the challenges that every single person goes through in this life. That part is not being posted. So I always say to someone, if you're feeling depressed or lonely or anything like that, don't go on social media because that's not real.
Okay.
It's really not real, Yeah.
Right.
So yes, it's become like easy to meet people, but maybe not the kind of people that want exactly what you want, if what you want is a healthy, happy, meaningful relationship. All right.
Okay.
So the people I work with often feel that they're very successful on the work front, but they're finding it quite impossible to find a partner because they're looking for the authenticity that's missing in today's dating world. Right. So when you look at conscious dating starts with looking at myself. Who am I? Let's look at my past relationships. What have I attracted in the past? What is it that I want? What is it that I don't want? Okay, so now we're becoming very clear. All right, so I was someone that was so afraid of being alone that I settled for someone even though I saw the red flags.
Yes.
Even though I knew this was not really the person for me, I turned a blind eye to that because I was so lonely and I just wanted a partner. If we're able to see that and say, oh, okay, I see that. I see why I attracted this person into my life and why this relationship was so toxic. So now my job is, can I become whole, complete on my own without needing a partner? I'm not desperate now for a partner. If I'm whole and complete, that means I love myself. I love my life. I love who I am, why I'm here. I'm connected to my purpose, right? Can you
Yes.
see that energy? It just radiates light.
Mm.
Okay, so when I come from there, from a place of wholeness, now I'm looking for a partner who's going to reflect that wholeness back to me. I'm
Mm.
looking for a partner who doesn't need to have me in their life, but wants to create this relationship together. So it's very, very different. So in conscious dating, you show up and you're not afraid to be completely authentic. You're not afraid to be vulnerable to say, hey, in the past I messed up here, there, and there.
But
Right?
is that not, I mean, because I can imagine someone who is going into a date and what they're thinking about is, I want to show up as authentic as possible. But at the same time, there's a risk that the person that you are showing up to might not really like the authentic you.
And
They
isn't
might not
that
want to know
beautiful?
about, they might not want to
I
know
would
about
say
all
that is
the,
fantastic because we talk about polarizing. So when someone pitches up and this is you in your full authenticity and that person doesn't like what they see, it means that's not your person. So can you imagine how much of heartache you are preventing by upfront knowing this is not your person? And the person that matches you, that's that frequency match for you, is going to love your authenticity. That's the person for you,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't want to spend years with the wrong person because we pretended to be someone else and they liked the person we pretended to be. So conscious dating means I'm showing up in my full authenticity and I've also done my healing work.
Okay. So you'd first do your healing work and then date.
Yes,
Or
yes.
is it things that you can do, concurrently? Do you now
You
wait
you
and
won't Yeah, you won't do 100% of the healing work before because healing works in layers, right? So you've got the outer layer of the onion. That would
yes.
be the issues that are easy to come to mind. You'll deal with that. When you deal with that, you become stronger. So when you become stronger, you faced with the next layer, which
Hmm.
takes a little bit more understanding, little more skills to overcome. Can you see? So that's how it works. But some of the issues won't come up until you are in a relationship. So that's the ongoing work. So if you look at a relationship as a platform for you to step into your fullest potential, and nobody looks at relationships like that. Because
Yes.
when I ask people, what do you think is the purpose of relationships? The usual answers I get is to be happy, to have someone you love, to have company, to do the things you want to do, to build a family, to travel, to have someone there when you get old. These are the things people always say. And I say, but the most important reason for relationships is it's there so that you can self actualize, so that you can step into your fullest potential as a human being. If we understand that, the divorce rate will drop. Because when there's an issue, you'll realize, okay, so this is coming up because something in me is getting triggered by the situation. And it has nothing to do with the partner. When I am triggered, it's me, it's my issue. So can I go back to where did this first start? When did I first feel this way and heal there? So when I heal there, the problem in the relationship's not there anymore. I'm not getting triggered anymore because I've healed it. The only time you get triggered is if there's a wound. If there's a wound and someone does something, they're poking at the wound, you get triggered. But if there's no wound there, no matter what they're doing, you don't get triggered.
Yeah. Something interesting for me, because you're talking about divorce. I was checking the stats. Quite a huge percentage of divorces that they happen within the first 10 years, a bulk of that. Why do you think that is the case? Why is it that a lot of divorces happen in the first period of, or the first 10 years of marriage?
Those are today's stats, right? So if you look at it, like I said, people are more independent than ever before, so they have choices. But also, we live in a society where everything has to happen quickly. Like, if in the past, if you wanted a meal, you have to go and cook the meal from start to finish. Today, you might call Uber Eats and be busy with something else and your food arrives.
Yes.
Or you can walk into a fast food place and get your food in 5 minutes. So we used to things happening really, really quickly now. So when we go into a relationship and the expectation is this is the love of my life, so we're going to live happily ever after. So when people get to realize, hey, this is actually not what I signed up for, they have the means to get out of it. So that's why it happens in the first 10 years. Because after that, it means you've resolved quite a few of your issues, say after 10 years.
Yeah.
I hope.
You healed your wounds and your traumas.
Yeah, and also, in some cases, people settle. I always say, never ever settle down. I always say, get to a point in your life, find a partner and settle down. And I say you must never settle down. Try leveling up, but don't settle down.
Okay. Yeah. And would you say we are, is it a losing battle that we are fighting against divorce?
Look, doing the work that I do, I'm going to say absolutely not. But I'm going to say get married for the right reasons.
Okay.
Don't get married because, oh, I'm too lonely, or financially I can't make it on my own. Don't get married because you need someone to complete you. Okay? So that means I'm half a person, I'm looking for this other half a person to come and complete me. When we have this kind of situation where two halves, it is the relationships that have the most struggle. It's like power struggles for control. And you have the most conflict in those kind of relationships. But when you come in and you say, I'm a whole, complete person, I'm looking for someone that's also whole and complete. This kind of relationship dynamic is very, very different. Now you come together consciously and you say, what is it that we want to create together? What is your vision for this amazing epic relationship? And then I'll share with you my vision for this epic relationship. And then we look to see, hey, there's quite a bit here in common that you want and I want. So can we come together and create a common vision for what we want to create? Right? There will be some differences. There must be, because you're two individuals and you're not giving that up, right? But the differences you look at and you say, is that something I can live with? In today's relationships that fail, one person looks at the other, they see something they don't like, and they think, it doesn't matter, I'll change him.
Yeah.
Okay. So later on, I'll change. So for now, it's like, oh, lovey dovey, everything's great. But later on, I'm going to change him.
Mm,
In conscious relationships, we look to see where the differences are and we ask ourselves, can I live with that?
mm,
Is that something I can completely accept about this person? If I can accept that, then yes, we can create the common vision and we can go ahead, and there will be those differences that we respect. Okay. So when you're creating a common vision for the life you want to build together, now every decision you make, it's either this is taking us towards the vision, in which case it's a yes, or it's taking us away from our vision, in which case it's a no. So it makes that easier because we've together agreed that this is what we want to co-create. So
yeah.
conscious relationships, you co-creating, but you also realizing that the other person feels so safe in that relationship that they can be completely authentic. They can be completely vulnerable because you know the other person's not going to disappear because you're not perfect. Because you're not showing up as perfect in the beginning. No
Yeah.
human being is, right? So
True.
if we can be real and be authentic, the right people will be attracted to that. That's your potential partner. Then you open it up for that discussion. In conscious relationships, there are lots and lots of the deeper discussions. It's to see where we're at. Where are we on our journey? We created this roadmap. Where are we? How are we doing? Are you
Mm,
happy? Are you content? Right? And in conscious relationships, we also have skills. We have skills to communicate on a deeper level. We have skills to resolve conflict when it happens because it's going to happen. If
mm.
we go in thinking we're going to agree on everything, then that's the fairy tale again.
Yeah.
The conflict will come up because, as I said, relationships are there to make you grow into your potential.
Do you think it's necessary or it's important for us in relationship, be it you've been in a long-term relationship or you are married, to constantly seek, some kind of a counseling therapy? Because a lot of us go for a long time without seeing anyone to talk to.
100%. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a relationship coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying it because I see couples who have just been going through life for years on end without really looking at their relationship, without asking the questions, are we happy? Are we on track? Is this the life that we both want? They don't ask these questions. So I say it doesn't matter how long the marriage has been already, you can make today the restart.
Mm.
And you do that by very simply saying, hey, we've been together for X number of years or months or whatever the case is, and let's just do a check in. I say to all couples, if you maintain one thing throughout your marriage, and that is have a date night once a week. Just
Okay.
have a date night once a week without the kids, all of that. The kids, you can have a babysitter, you can have granny take care of them for one night. You're showing your kids that your marriage is important. You're
Yeah.
teaching them something good, right? Because a lot of parents, once they have kids, they forget about the marriage and now it's all about the kids. But
Yeah.
now you're teaching your kids that when in the future, when they find a partner, the partner is no longer important. See, so everything we do, we're passing that on to the next generation. So if you had that date night once a week, so now you have that time without all the noise, no phones, nothing like that, and you're catching up with each other. You're seeing where you're at. You're having the conversations, and it shouldn't just be about we're going to do this because we have to do this. It must be this is what we want because we're invested in this relationship.
Relationship. Yeah.
We want this for the rest of our lives. For me, a conscious relationship is the opposite of a lot of people feel that marriage means you lose your freedom. And that's something we've got to shift, because in conscious relationships, we need to think, can I have love plus freedom?
Okay.
Okay. So, love plus freedom, this is where when you have differences and you discuss that up front and you accepted those differences, right? So, let's say, for example, he loves playing golf, but she hates that. But maybe she just loves having time with her girlfriends.
Mm.
Okay. So, can you arrange that while you're out playing golf, I'm going to meet with my girlfriends? Freedom plus love. It
Okay.
doesn't mean now you've got to sacrifice the things you love because you're in a relationship now.
Mm.
So that can only happen when there is security inside of yourself. I'm secure in myself. So I don't need to be watching you. I'm not going to look at your phone. I'm not going to read your emails, right? Because we've established a foundation of trust. We've established a safe place where you are free to be who you are. I'm going to support your highest growth, just as I know you're going to support my highest growth.
Mm.
So we look at, what are your goals? These are my goals. How can I support you achieve that? How are you going to support me achieve this? Can you see it's like two individuals still living their purpose, still coming in and saying, this is what I want to create for myself.
Mm.
And how can we make that work together?
Okay.
So you can see it's like loads of conversations need to happen.
Yeah, quite a bit. And I think you are right, because a lot of us, I mean, go through marriage without really trying to get
Yeah.
some sort of
Yes.
a check,
Yeah.
into the marriage to say, are we still good? And also the other thing that I wanted us to maybe briefly talk about is the evolution that happens over time in marriage. Because you meet, as these young minds that are thinking in this way. And then after 10, 12 years, a lot has changed, priorities have changed. And
Yes.
although even when you started together, you had the same ideas, but over time, a lot of things can change, and then you begin to lose that, one vision for the, relationship or the family.
Yes, correct. If one person is growing and one is not, you have disaster. That marriage not going to last. If we understand that we are there and we're going to grow and evolve together, that's part of our journey that's going to happen. So when you realize that we're going to be growing, then we look at our relationship and we say, in the courting phase, we had one relationship because there were no real responsibilities there. We had that. Then, when we decide we want to get married, now we're setting up a home and we juggling careers and all of that. Now we have a different type of relationship.
Mm.
Then, when we have kids, now we're going to be parents as well. Now we have a third type of relationship. Then, when the kids are done with school and they're off to university, you got the empty nest, we're going to have another kind
Another.
of relationship. You've had four relationships with the same person. Can you see?
Yeah.
But in each case, you have grown, you have evolved, things are changing, priorities are shifting. But because the two of you have made the decision that we're walking this road together, we're going to, every time we hit a wall and there's a challenge here, and instead of us going off in two different directions with expectations and fighting and throwing things at each other, we come together and say, okay, we have this challenge. How do we do this together? It's
Yes.
communication. It's really opening up that platform to be able to communicate without pointing fingers and blaming and all of that, because that's again coming down to the expectations we have from the other.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
Earlier on, you spoke about roles. That in the past, when marriages were
Yeah.
back in the 60s, 50s, there were roles. What is your take in as far as roles are concerned today? Should we still be stuck in the old ways of, a woman must do this when she gets home, and the man must do that when he gets home? What do you
Yeah,
think?
these roles that are very skewed in today's world is the reason that a lot of women don't want to get married. All right.
Okay.
Because they feel if you have a career and I have a career, so I'm out working all day just as you are. But when I get home, I'm still expected to prepare dinner. I'm still expected to take care of the kids, take care of the home. Can you see the imbalance there already?
Yeah.
So the roles need to shift. If a woman is bringing money to the table, then the man has to step up and help with the chores as well. That's a partnership. That's how a partnership works, right? And it's never about this has to be 50-50. Like if I've cooked 2 meals, you've got to cook 2 meals. It's never a 50-50. Someone could love cooking and someone else will say, while you cook the meal, I'll wash the car. Can
Okay.
you see it's both bringing something to the table that makes the relationship easier to deal with? So those kind of, like I said, with conscious relationships, we have those kind of conversations. So we bring it up and we say, okay, so both of us are working, both of us are bringing money in. So let's look at all the rest of the chores that we have to do, the responsibilities, paying the bills, and so on. And let's put it all on the table and let's discuss and see how this is going to work for both of us.
So
Can
you
you
think,
see if we don't have the conversation, but we have expectations, that's when the conflict happens.
yeah, I'm thinking, and I mean, we are cultured already in this environment
Yeah,
where a woman is
yeah,
expected to do this and a man is
yes,
expected to do
yes,
that. And I see what you mean that, once
yeah.
both parties are working, the other one gets overloaded.
Yeah. And the change is happening so rapidly right now because the feminine energy, a divine feminine energy, is rising up on our planet right now. So if you look at the last few hundred years, the feminine energy has been suppressed, right? So we've lived in a patriarchal world where the masculine energy was dominant, controlling, the feminine was belittled, she was undermined, she was controlled, and all of that. So now that the feminine energy is rising up on our planet, there's a call for a balance and a harmonizing between the masculine and feminine energies. So within ourselves, we've got both masculine and feminine. Okay. So our
Okay.
masculine side is the side of the thinking, the making decisions, the logical side. It's the provider, it's the protector, it's the leader, and so on. So both men and women have those qualities. The feminine side of us is the creative side. It's the intuition, the inner wisdom, the
Okay.
nurturing. That is the feminine side. And both men and women have that as well. Right? So within ourselves, when I bring my masculine and feminine together, I create wholeness within myself. If my partner does the same, brings his masculine and feminine, he creates wholeness within himself. Now, in the relationship, we ideally want a woman to have slightly dominant feminine energy and a man to have slightly dominant masculine, because that becomes the polarity that creates attraction and brings them together.
Okay.
What we find in today's world, where women are more in leadership roles, they're far
Yeah.
more educated, they may be earning more money, is that they are predominantly in their masculine energy. And if a woman is in her masculine energy, she's not going to attract a man who's in his masculine. Masculine, masculine. It's like two positive ends of a magnet. It's going to
They
repel.
repel.
It's not going to
Yeah.
attract, right? So you need a positive and a negative. And that's what creates the magnetism, the attraction. So
Mm.
that is a whole other topic.
But then if I and I'm not interested in this. I wanted to ask you, but you explained what is a feminine energy because it's first time I'm hearing about the concept as well. And maybe I understand, maybe I know the concept, but the terminology is it's something that's new to me. For
Yeah.
someone who is in a role of leadership at work, how do they then balance, the masculine versus the feminine at home?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is the work world demands that we show up in our masculine energy. All right. And that's why we have so much chaos in the world today. when you look at the war, the conflict, the competition, all of that is a result of excessive masculine energy. That's not been tempered with the feminine. The feminine is about community. It's about coming together. It's about how do we all win?
Mm.
Can you see it's taking care of everyone? That's the feminine energy. And that's why
The
I'm saying
nurturing.
that energy is rising up on the planet right now because it's needed. It's necessary.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're going to be living in this chaotic state. So that as the feminine energy rises up, what is being called from men is for men to stand in their masculine and provide safety and structure, right? So the man provides the safety for the feminine to rise up. But for a
Okay.
man to do that, he has to be in his divine masculine energy. He has to be very secure in himself so that he can allow her to become all that she was meant to be and not undermine her and not put her down.
Yeah. It's and I can, it's gonna be a very it's a, it's a challenging situation because I mean we, for example, we live in a world where I generally say women are in fashion, you know. If there's a position at work, you know, a woman would be preferred over a man. So over time, we will have women rising in the, you know, corporate ladder, and then a lot of men will find themselves in a situation where there is not really means to provide for the family, or opportunities. And is that not going to, and or rather, I would imagine that becomes difficult for now. This guy who is not employed or who is employed in a role that is lower than that of the wife to now rise to the masculine energy, as you put it.
Yes, you're going to find that that's going to happen for a while before the balance is restored. It's like if you go back to before we had cell phones, like the first person that had a cell phone was like one in 20 million. And then suddenly it's like everybody has a cell phone. And that didn't take a lot of time for that shift to happen.
Mm.
Right now, it's like you don't have a phone, like that's inconceivable.
Strange,
So,
yeah.
likewise, when the energies are shifting like this, it's going to cause a little bit of chaos in the beginning because, oh, we're not used to this. This is different. This is like taking us outside our comfort zones. But very quickly, we'll find a new way. And that is what I'm talking about conscious relationships. It's a completely new way of us being in relationship together. The partnerships that we're creating and building, the lives that we're building together. And contribution is not just financial. Contribution is, your presence, providing the safety, providing the leadership, being there when another person needs you, whether it's emotional, psychological support that's needed. It's looking at everything that is required in a relationship and being able to provide that. So
Mm.
financial is only one aspect that comes into relationships, albeit quite an important one because it does make or break some relationships,
Yeah.
right? But now we're going through the chaos because the shift is happening, but very quickly we'll find our footing and we'll find a new normal.
Okay. So you're saying essentially these energies, they'll always strive to balance or to
Yes,
reach that
correct.
equilibrium
Yeah. Yeah,
over
yeah.
time.
So
Okay.
so that's nature's way. It's like if you have a cut on your hand, naturally it's going to heal.
Yeah.
That's the natural tendency. So when there's an imbalance, there's a natural tendency to bring things into balance, into harmony.
Mm. But in between, then we have we have people that suffer, you know. So for that period, whilst
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
equilibrium is not
That
reached.
is that is very true. If you look at like going way back to when women who were connected with nature and they knew how to use plants to heal, they were labeled witches and burnt at the stake.
Mm.
So that's the degree of suffering that happened for the liberation to then happen, the liberation of women to then happen. So
Yeah.
that's the pain and the suffering that women in that generation went through. So when we look at any kind of change, evolution, the old must die for the new to be born. So the
Mm.
old systems can't exist in a new future.
Okay. And would what then happens to the traumas that come about as a result of the imbalance or during the years of imbalance? Is it not something that we carry through? I mean, I imagine back a few years ago when women were not having opportunities, there's a lot of trauma that came with that. And now that there is, I mean, an interest in uplifting women, you still see, a trail of that trauma coming through.
Um, Trauma is something that is so underestimated, I think, because every single one of us carries some kind of trauma, and the majority of the time it goes back into our childhood. Sometimes it's generational trauma that's passed down from one generation to the other.
Yes.
And we have the power and the privilege right now to transcend that, to actually go. We have tools today that we can go into that trauma and heal that. In the past, where you needed 2 years of therapy, now in a coaching session, you can heal that trauma in one session. So
Okay.
people don't have an excuse to say, oh, this happened to me and that was done to me. No, 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 no. It was done to you so that it wakes you up to your fullest potential. That happened to you because there's some role, purpose inside of you that needs to come out, and it's coming out because that trauma. You'll find that people that had the worst possible experiences, like someone that was raped,
Yeah.
and they come out of that and they become a voice for people that are abused. They become that voice. They become a powerhouse because of that experience that they had. When someone experiences absolute poverty, if they've lost their home, they don't have a job, all of that, that person will come up and become so prosperous and then show other people the journey from there to there.
Mm.
It's like really walking your talk. It's so I feel like when we take our greatest trauma, we've got to ask ourselves, what's the gift hidden in that? Because in that you'll find your life purpose in that trauma. But we don't want to look at the trauma a lot of the time. We want to just hide it, push it under the rug, pretend it didn't happen. But there's the greatest gift waiting for you
Mm.
if you sit with that. And you don't have to sit with it for years on end. You just have to sit with it for an hour and you'll get your answers. But can we be willing to just do that?
So there are mechanisms and systems in
Yes,
place to heal that trauma.
absolutely.
Okay.
More now than ever before. Yeah.
Okay. Kas, I think this has been quite an interesting sit down with you. Different, obviously, from what I've had in the past, but certainly in a weird way, it's interesting. I was saying to my wife, I felt like, I mean, it feels like I'm in a meeting, and I almost don't know how to behave. But I really think this is an insightful one that I hope our viewers are going to enjoy. And for someone who wants to, get hold of you and receive some of your services, how do they get hold of you? Where can they find you?
Okay, I think the easiest way is via email. So it's info@nextlevelup.co.za, or you can get a hold of me on Facebook on the Love Evolution group.
Okay. And are you assisting or offering your services nationwide, or is it for a particular region or
Yeah.
area?
Well, it's anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. Okay, nice, nice one.
Yeah, because all the coaching happens online. It makes it easier for, the person doesn't have to travel, neither do I. And yeah, we can do the deep work and see the major transformations happen.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's hope those that are watching will certainly get in touch and get assistance from you.
Thank you very much, Vuyani, and thank you for the insightful questions that you asked. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Same here. Thank you so much.